KTTV 70th series looks at some of the biggest moments of the past 70 years in the Southland, and tonight we're turning to one of the darkest chapters in American history.
As we commemorate another 9/11 anniversary, we speak with some people who know all too well the horror of what happened that day. It was any other Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, a sunny and beautiful New York day until it wasn't.
We have breaking news right now at 5:51.
Some dramatic pictures this morning out of New York.
Yes, coming out of New York City.
American Airlines Flight 11 is commandeered by hijackers into the World Trade Center's North Tower.
These are early pictures, of course, a live picture right now. Still no word, though, of injuries.
I saw it go right into the building, and I was like, oh, my God.
I can't tell if it went right through, but certainly debris was shot out the other side of the building.
20 minutes later, another plane, United Flight 175, into another tower.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, God.
There's another one. There's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. I think we have a terrorist act of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
Oh, my God.
My goodness.
Another plane will fly into the Pentagon, American Airlines Flight 77. Yet another into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, United Flight 93. Flight numbers etched into history. With America under attack, the White House was evacuated, so were the U.S. Capitol and the State Department. And here in Los Angeles,
We are now getting reports that perhaps one of the planes was hijacked as it was traveling from Boston to Los Angeles.
America was put, in effect, on lockdown. KTTV reporters fanned out across the Southland. John Schwada was in Westwood.
We're at the Federal Building, but over on the west side of the building, but by Sepulveda. As you can see, over across the street are a number of FBI agents, heavily armed, who've surrounded this building.
Rick Lozano caught up with LAPD Chief Bernard Parks.
Are there any terrorist threats against Los Angeles at this time?
We have none that we can report, but we certainly are cognizant of the potential.
The LAPD was placed on a citywide tactical alert. And at LAX, travel came to a screeching halt.
We have Lieutenant Howard Whitehead with us. Please give us the very latest on evacuations here at LAX.
We're evacuating the whole airport, other than key employees.
It was a precautionary measure, no immediate threats, but back in New York, reporters had a tough job.
I immediately called my mom, and I remember her begging me not to go to work. And I said, this is what I have to do.
Fox 11's Sandra Endo, who worked back then for a local New York news channel, headed into the danger zone. She recounted the story in this new interview with Hal Eisner for our KTTV 70 series.
I was living right by the 59th Street Bridge. Taxi cabs were trying to get out of the city. Everyone was fleeing by foot across the bridge. Nobody trusted any type of transportation. We didn't know if it was safe to take a subway. There could have been a chemical gas attack. Anything could have happened.
She knew this was the biggest breaking news story she'd ever confronted. All journalists that day knew it.
Maybe a couple of weeks prior had done an event at the top of that building. To think that they were no longer there was just a surreal experience.
Fox 11's Bob DeCastro, interviewed for this KTTV 70 series, was working for Fox 5 in New York at the time. And like many reporters, he was trying to come to grips with what was happening all around him.
What I remember seeing was this huge cloud of dust. It looked like everything had been completely pulverized. I thought it looked like a war zone.
You would see people caked with ash and grime and grit, and you realize they just somehow made it out alive.
The families were walking around and from hospital to hospital to hospital looking for their loved ones.
People were corralling around radios, listening, trying to figure out what's happening.
Now, all these years later, Bob and Sandra reflect on that day. News people gathering their thoughts.
Tons and tons of paper that were scattered all over the place.
I saw calendar. I saw baby rattle. So it was all things that blew out of the building.
Trading orders or notes that were left from one coworker to another, and thinking to myself, these were two people that were talking to each other and wondering if these people had made it.
I can't imagine what it was like for so many of those first responders and the people in those buildings that just went to work and didn't make it.
Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
I don't care where you are in this country, 9/11 hit you anywhere you were. Such a big moment to see a city crumble like that and then rebuild.
A country rising from the ashes of the worst attack ever on U.S. soil. 2,977 victims, many of them from right here in Southern California.
In the hours, in the days, in the weeks after 9/11, everybody came together, and it really showed the best of what people are.
A city so afraid they fled, and then for it to open up and say, you know what, we're not going to let people beat us down.